That actually sounds really good. I like all of that. That's really nice. Today we'll be looking into Cymatics' newest effects plugin, Lotus. I was debating even making this video because when this plugin was released, I actually just got COVID. But then I started to feel better, so I said, screw it, and I made this review. Hi, I'm just on standby. I'll see you guys here in a second. Alright, bye. So this may not be the first Lotus video, but I guarantee it will be the best. In fact, I still have COVID. Have you subscribed yet? But I think I'll make it through this just fine, because you should. So after seeing some clips of what this plugin could do, I wanted to test to see if it could make some boring old chords seem a bit more interesting. Also stick around to the end because I use this plugin in some very unorthodox ways to see if I can't get any hidden gems out of it. But in order to start using this plugin, we gotta make those chords. So I probably won't be as energetic or anything, but we're here, so let's get to it. We're gonna be using FL keys. Go over here and hit Alt-S, and then for these over here, a different strum, not as dramatic. Cool. No! Let's change the tempo a little bit too, huh? Let's go down to 75. So now I want to go over here and try and replace this, make it sound a lot better with a different VST. This actually might go with the vibe I'm trying to go for today. I want to add some drums before we continue, but it won't take very long at all, I promise. Because I want to hear my drums process whenever I make lo-fi. I'm gonna go over here and put on some Pro Q3 on a bus. Just immediately take out the high end. I've not been recording, so let me see how this goes. Kind of fell off here and there, but actually not terrible. Huh. Am I actually doing this right now? So just for right now, I want to focus on the melody. So I'm going to be putting that down just ever so slightly, just to make it more of a vibe in the back. All right. Even more. Background ambiance for right now. All right, let's go back to our melody real quick. Lotus. There it is. So I thought to start off, we would go through some of the presets here, as it is the easiest way to use this plugin. And then after that, we'll go a bit more in depth on the features that make up these presets, so you can better know how to use this plugin. All right, so as you can see from the presets over here, they have a delay, a whole section just for that. And then after that, they've got some effects. So it's different little categories that these presets all fit into, which I think is pretty nice and really, really neat. Then over here, we get to the main part of this plugin for me personally, is the sequencing. And then also at the very bottom, we've got this weird section, which is honestly just, they couldn't categorize. Let's go over here to sequencing, my favorite part of this entire plugin. Immediately not great. I like this a lot. For this particular melody, it fits really well. So I'm actually gonna keep evolution in mind, because I actually really do like that one. But now I wanna go over here and scroll and find some more. Okay, so here, I think that it's doing a little bit too much, which in some cases you might like that for a trap beat or just making melody more spiced, or for spicing up a melody. But for here, it's actually a little bit too much, so I can go over here and hit halftime. And now that's going just as long. And that actually sounds really good. I like all of that. That's really nice. So that was a couple of the sequences. Let's go over here to effects, see if it does anything over there. Add some noise. Might sound kind of good for this sort of beat, like lo-fi. Purple haze. Like that. Like that a lot. Honestly, a lot of these presets are working out perfectly. Let's go to Juno Chorus. Juno is obviously a very famous synthesizer. Okay. Crispy. Oh god, I'm a child. Okay, broken record. That's a specific taste. So a lot of the effects are very hit or miss, but everyone's familiar with delay, right? So let's go over here and try some of those. I like slap back resonance. It's good. It's adding that hiss again, which I don't like, which we'll go into how we can turn that off in here a little bit later. Sparkles is good. I like sparkles. That's nice. All right, so obviously I'm not gonna be going through every single preset in here. That would take me forever because there is a ton in here. But there's a handful from each of the categories. I'll say. So I've noticed that people actually click off when I'm just cycling through presets. So let me know down below if you guys want me to keep doing that or if I should just skip them. But now it's time to go through what make up all of these presets. Oh, I forgot that my window was open. My neighbors probably heard me. Understanding all these features is a key part in knowing how to use this plugin better and will even help you make your own presets. Let's actually go back to a factory reset. So right now it's going to be doing nothing, right? All right, so first tab is going to be the delay tab, and we've got our mix, which is very simple. How much of the delay you can really hear, how much delay it's going to be in milliseconds. So hitting sync right there will give it to you in notes, which I always prefer. So here's the normal 1/16th note, right? But if I go over here to T and a dot, it's either going to be pushing it forward or backwards in time very slightly. Okay, but then over here for the feedback, actually that's going to be stacked on top of each other, and you got to kill that before it really gets out of control. All right. Wow. It differs from mix slightly. Mix is just how the volume of the delay, all right, which is different from the feedback. Feedback is how many samples are gonna be stacked on top of each other and how long you're gonna let it drag out. So that's it for these three. This one right here, I actually can't talk about too much. Down over here, it'll tell you, if you're ever confused about a knob, what it does. On glide, it'll say pitch changes caused by the sequencer, which we have not even talked about yet, will glide between. So we'll talk about that here in a bit. Going over here to short, all right, this is gonna be more for like chorus and flanger effects, which honestly I'm not really too keen on. All right, so moving on to the filter over here, we've got our low pass, the resonance for the low pass filter, high pass, and then also a resonance for the high pass filter. Turn that on down. Much more warm, and then a high pass. Basically just acting as a small EQ. I honestly usually have them off. So yes, that is going to be the filter section over here. Again, I don't really use it that much, so I don't really have too many tips on how to use it very well. Not really something that I utilize personally. But again, nice to have the option if you do want to use that. All right, now moving on to the sequence tab over here, which again is my favorite part of this plugin. Tick it on right over there, and you can see this start to move down over here. This line is very important, okay? It is a visual representation of what moving these knobs will do and how it's going to affect our sample. So if you see over here, me moving this down will immediately start to lengthen and shorten this little bar over here. So adding a way for you to see what the plugin is actually doing. Super genius. So you're not just guessing at if the timing makes sense and you can dial in exactly what you want. Like this sequencer, in my opinion, is the main part of this plugin, and I didn't even know what it really was until I saw the bars down below. So really smart of Cymatics to include that. So let's go back on over to evolution like we had before. All right, so here is the bar. I like bars like this, where something small, something long, something small, and again, okay? So the bright part right here is gonna be this very first knob. See, the more that I move it, the more it's going to go around. And then this medium dark blue right here is going to be the second one, which is at 1 bar currently. Moving it down will go more like that. And then finally, this last small little part over here is going to be the length. The length is basically how much time goes by before it goes through the step 1 and step 2 again. So let's see how all that sounds right now. And I think it's a very appropriate length for this BPM, right? Because it's BPM synced. No, I said synced. Mike Tyson. Now, because this is all BPM synced, it knows how much time is passing by, and because it's at a very slow tempo right now, this actually works out pretty well. But if we were in double time at 150 BPM, I'm not gonna like this. For me, it's happening way too often, right? So all I have to do is go over here and hit halftime, and it immediately slows it down to half of what it was. Now we're back to where we were at the 75 BPM mark, right? I actually want to go back on down to 75 because I actually like where we were at for the beat. All right, so that's going to be the lengths and duration of these knobs right here, but we can go a step further and mess with the pitch as well. So over here, we're going up plus 12 semitones, okay? And over here, we're going up 0. See, you can hear that going down, right? Let's try doing that. I actually like that a lot. All right, and that's going to be with the align ticked on. Now what this is it automatically aligns the sequence length to a multiple of the reset length. So if we turn that off, you can see that it moved a little bit more again, right? So it's going to be a little bit more off time or a little bit different from what we saw over here. Which also I think doesn't sound that bad, especially for something like this where it's like lo-fi and it's more for like to catch a vibe and everything like that. This actually does sound pretty good. And I'm not quite sure if you guys can't hear this on your phone speakers. There's actually a hiss going on and some distortion, which I'm actually not a huge fan of in this case. And you might be thinking, what's going on here? Because I don't see any knob for distortion or noise. And the reason for that is it's going to be right over here. We have a whole other backside to this plugin, which is the modulation and advanced tab with the mix down over here. So let's see what's going on over here. All right, so talking a little bit about the modulation, right? Think RC20. Increasing that depth will make it sound a little bit more off key and out of tune. This knob right here does something very similar, but only affecting the effects that it's currently putting on there. See, it already sounds way different out of tune, which can be good for a lo-fi track. So we'll increase that a little bit more, like 30%, something around there. And the rate as well, like how intense is it going to be? Like that does not sound good. So I'm gonna decrease that a little bit, like right there. The shape, we have triangle, sawtooth, and sine. And then a random, which I don't like. And then you can quantize it. If you don't have this on, if it's 0%, it'll be doing it at its own free will. But if you do have it on, it's going to be following your BPM and where you are in the track, which is kind of nice. All right, and now for the advanced tab over here. I don't like the drive at all and the noise. If I want to add noise, I'll be doing it on. I would not be using this plugin, all right? Just being honest, I have RC20 and I have Noise Shaper by Shaperbox 2, and I would much rather use one of those two. Personally, I'm turning off the advanced tab every single time. And now finally, you've got your options over here for your in, your out, stereo, or ping pong. Honestly, either way, don't really hear a huge difference. And I'm wearing headphones too, so that says something. Also, I forgot to mention about the whole delay thing now that we've got our sequence going on. So here's what 0% sounds like. Very abrupt while putting up the glide, while it slide more into it. What's too much can make it sound out of sync or out of tune. Like right there. It just sounded bad. So one thing that could be a very big deal breaker for anyone using this plugin. Listen to how full the sound is without it being ticked on. This is just the normal input, the normal signal. Sounds very full, very wide, very stereo. But then look what happens when I turn it back on when it's dB matched. Very narrow. The effect does sound like it's in stereo, but our original melody sounds completely narrow and in the middle of the mix, which I don't want. So personally, what I'll do is I will decrease this, have it more tucked in the background while keeping the dynamics of my melody. So that is pretty much all that you can do with Lotus on your melody. Me, just being who I am, I want to try some new stuff out and get a little bit experimental. So let's try slapping this onto a perk loop and see what happens. There's a little bit too much high end in there, so I'm going to go over here and cut some of that out. Oh, it's very much in the background. How about instead we put it on our drum loop? See if that does anything for us, huh? That sounds like kind of cool. That's just like some delay sounding, that's fine. This has that high pass filter on, so it really sounds muffled. That actually sounds okay. Yeah, so that is, I don't even know why I did that. But now we know what happens when you want to give that a try. It sounds very different. Well, it was a good effort on the perk loop. So after I stopped recording, I actually changed up this beat like a lot. I added new melodies, changed the chords, added some textures and a bass. So I will show you that in just a second. Let me know down below what you guys think of this plugin and if you're planning on picking it up. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.